starts to my audience, just remember that we want to practice civility. The candidates are here telling their story and how they are willing to support our community. And regardless of how we may feel about one candidate or another, we need to practice that civility. So to my audience, please be polite to Keisha and to our other speakers. And Keisha, I'm going to introduce you to Susan Goldstein. You talked to her a little bit, but Susan is our Government Affairs Committee chair, helps us from the Alliance and what we do on the government affairs side, and also with Michael Saunders Commercial. And then she'll make the introduction and you can get started. So thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Susan, you have anything you want to say?
Okay, all right. Thanks, Dom. It's a pleasure. This is our third of 3 virtual meetings for Meet the Candidate sessions prior to the August 18th primary election. So go out and vote. And I want to thank the Governmental Affairs Committee as a whole, as well as our subcommittee, Elizabeth Cords of the Bradenton Area EDC, Casey Welch of University of South Florida, and Max Brando with the Realtor Association of Sarasota and Manatee, who worked with our amazing Lakewood Ranch staff to create this event and roll with the punches. We've got Dom DeMeo, our president of the Alliance, Don Sider, vice president, Janet Gonzalez, events and programs coordinator, Amy Trice, membership and sales manager, and Caitlin, and excuse me for not finishing that off. The Governmental Affairs mission is to identify, educate, and advocate issues of importance to the Lakewood Ranch Business Alliance. Today's event allows us to educate our members and strengthen and establish relationships with our public leaders. Thank you to our attendees today and to the candidates for your service and for deciding to campaign for office. And now I'd like to begin by introducing to you candidate for House District 70, Keisha Bell.
Okay, first, can you hear me? I just want to make sure. Yes, okay.
Yes.
Well, thank you for this opportunity to come before you to introduce myself to you and for me to learn a little bit more about you. My name is Keisha Bell. I am a candidate for State House District 70. Some of you may remember possibly that I ran for this position in 2018 against a very established incumbent, Mr. Wenge Newton. And in that contest, I actually placed second against him, losing that election by a little over 3,000 votes. So I'm back in 2020. I'm back because I believe in District 70. I believe in its people. I believe in the state of Florida. It's one of the primary reason why I'm here really is because of the people and my belief of what the possibilities is in District 70 and how it impacts the state of Florida. So this district is my home. I am a third generation native of District 70 in South St. Petersburg in particular. I was born in South St. Pete and I've spent most of my life here. I'm a graduate of the University of Central Florida and also a graduate of Florida State University College of Law in Tallahassee. Throughout my career, whether I am a practicing family law attorney or a nonprofit leader or a community volunteer, I have fought for those in need. And there is significant need here in District 70, as well as it is throughout many communities throughout the state of Florida. Here in District 70, you pretty much named the issue, and it probably is at the top priority of somebody's list. I mean, we need access to affordable and quality health care, funding for our public schools, living wages, environmental justice. Like I said, you name it, it's pretty much an issue here. I personally have a long track record of investing in and advocating for people in my community here in District 70. And now more than ever, this district needs an experienced advocate, an experienced leader, and that's what I have to offer. I have had the experience of actually advocating and bringing back financial resources as well as other resources throughout District 70. Aside from practicing law throughout the state of Florida, I have practiced in pretty much all 4 corners of the state. I graduated from law school almost 2 decades ago, so I've have a vast experience in the legal arena. But aside from that practice, I've also managed or directed a federal healthcare initiative, which I think is preparation for the times that we're currently facing. In that role as a director of a federal healthcare initiative, I was able to manage a budget of close to $1 million. So I do have budgeting experience. Also, during that particular period of time, I was a federal grants reviewer, which definitely would be experience that I would rely upon as I listen to requests to be made and advocated for in Tallahassee, in addition to the role that I will be playing while in Tallahassee. Also, I have in despite or in the face of opposition, I've been able to secure an additional nearly $100,000 for the residents of District 70 at a period of time when people said that it was impossible. Do have the experience of tough times, of tough messaging, of the message being what can't be done because money is lack here or opportunities are lack there. If it's something that I'm advocating for, I'm kind of like a pit dog, a pit bull. I like to. It's important for me to advocate and be very efficient with the things that I push for. So I take those things seriously because here in 70, opportunities that I've had, people that I personally know, having been a resident here, I just truly, I believe in it. I believe in the space. I believe in the opportunities throughout District 70. One of the things are that I definitely look forward to assisting with is small businesses and pushing to better position small businesses. It's a driving force throughout District 70. I myself have been a small business owner and I'm from a family of business owners. So I've seen both sides of different situations as it relates to owning businesses and the importance of that. I know now how COVID impacts our economy, not just in District 70 or the state, but really the nation. There's going to have to be a lot of very tough conversations that's going to be necessary in Tallahassee. But in those conversations, I'm going to do my best to advocate for and position not only my district, but this part of the state. It's very important. We're all connected, so it's a thriving force. Areas that I'm looking to advocate for in Tallahassee is healthcare. Healthcare has been something that I was very vocal about um, 2 years ago. And some of that experience, I'm sure, has something to do with me leading that federal healthcare initiative. In that role, unlike some people who have management positions, it was important for me to get out in the community to really hear the testimonies of the people, to see how those programs work. It was in partnership with 5 other major community partners here in Pinellas County, particularly in South St. Petersburg, and inclusive of the health department. So I was able not only to hear from community organizations and how health disparities were affecting the community, but the people themselves. I've helped implement and design programs as it relates to health in particular, just trying to better the health consequences of people here locally. And I've seen the results of successful programming and understand that, a lot of what is definitely needed is resources towards education as it relates to people's health. Here, I know personally that a lot of people in District 70 don't really understand how like medications impact their body or food impact their body or exercise they can't really like draw the lines to those connections, but it's with strong advocacy. And one of the things that I plan to utilize this platform for is to continue to be a voice in that arena, because I have definitely seen results when people do make those connections, and particularly in a period of time in which when people's health are already compromised. It's some people, it's no rhythm, I don't think, or rhyme to why some people live and why some people die if they were to impact COVID. I've been working in this arena as it relates to health and my passion for that before COVID. But I definitely know COVID has brought a lot of discussions to the table as it relates to individuals' health. And a lot of people in 70, their physical being is compromised simply because their health is, and the numbers in this particular part of the state is skyrocketing. In Manatee, it was reported by the health department, 35 deaths. That's extremely high. It's about a third of, throughout the whole state for that particular day. This is something that's impacting not only Pinellas County, but its surrounding counties. So in Tallahassee, I'll definitely be a strong advocate that for everybody to have access to affordable health care. Education has always been near and dear to my heart. I am the product of proud product of two public school educators. Grew up in a household where education was vital. It was important. It was stressed. I took for granted that message when I was younger, just assuming that this was the narrative in everyone's homes. I was a young adult before I realized that there is privilege in being raised in a household where education is demanded from you. And I understand that messaging is not in a lot of homes as it relates to District 70. Education and healthcare are two things that drive our economy. There's two things
Yes.
that must be supported,
So
and
that
I am a
21.
strong advocate in both of those. Someone talking? Oh, and I am a strong advocate in both of those areas. The last thing, well, not the last thing, but another thing that I look forward to supporting while in Tallahassee is environmental justice. In that area, I am working on developing and strengthening relationships with organizations, not just in that area, but just organizations and businesses throughout District 70, so that I can truly be a effective voice and represent District 70 and its partnerships with surrounding areas to the best of my ability. We need a strong presence there. I do have a very unique background professionally and otherwise, which I will rely upon once I'm in Tallahassee. District 70 is a very diverse district. A lot of people don't really like to talk about how diverse it is, but I've traveled it numerous times for a couple of years now, starting in 2018 in various different communities, just to get more understanding of how diverse it is. And it definitely needs a representative who speaks to all communities. I believe that that's a strong point that I have. I'm very serious about representing this district and bringing in resources. And for any of you who have friends in 70, I would encourage Tallahassee. Thank you.
Keisha, thank you so much. Much like you, education is definitely part of my background and what I've supported. There in your market, I believe Academy Prep is a school that is a private middle school that helps many children. I sat on the board there for almost 4 years. So it's a school that I've believed in and I continue to support to this day, because it does make changes, and I think we need to help our youth because they're our future. So thank you for what you do for education and healthcare as well, because it's two important subjects, as you said, as we go into at least the next year. It always is important, but this next year is going to be even vitally important. So thank you for being here tonight, and thank you for what you're doing for us in the community. Regardless, we wish you well through the election cycle. We're now 8 days away? Is that a week?
Yeah,
So,
a week.
So we hope that you finish strong and get some sleep along the way as well. And
sleep afterwards. Sleep afterwards.
We will share your website and contact information with the group. Upon our exit of the third meeting, we're going to send out all that information of all the candidates, and we'll direct questions to you as well if we receive any through that process. So thank you for being here this evening, and have a good night.
Thank you. You too. Thank you guys for having me. Bye.
So Dan, I'm not sure you're going to try to let in. There you go. So do we know who the second Dom DeMeo was? Did they rename? Do I have Michelle Grimsley or Mark Oliver with me?
I think we have Mark Oliver on here. Mark, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Can you see me?
Yep, there's Mark. Well, Mark, thank you for joining us this evening. We just got finished with Keisha, and we're going to leave the floor to you. Mark is also a candidate for the Florida House District 70 race on the Democratic side, and was working hard at the polls. So we appreciate you joining us from the polls this evening.
Yes.
And Mark, the floor is yours. You have a few minutes to address, 15 minutes, as much as you would like to address the crowd.
Well, as you see, I'm here in my car, obviously. I am actually here at early voting right now, and I've been out here since open to close every single day since they've been open. And a little bit about myself. My name is Mark Oliver. Not only am I the youngest and hardest working candidate on the ballot, I am a small business owner. I work with over 400, I'm a CEO of a nonprofit called Specially Fit. I work with over 400 kids with disabilities across 9 schools all over Central Florida. And I'm running my race that's focused in on disability rights. We're currently ranked 50th in the nation when it comes to special needs funding. And 1 in 4 voters have a disability. I'm running my race to focus on healthcare because healthcare is not a privilege. It's a human right that every single person deserves. In education, right now we're at the bottom of education, and I want to see more programs emphasized in on early childhood education. My family and I, we just adopted a 3 and a 4-year-old, and I know how hard it is firsthand to reach these children before they get to kindergarten and how important it is. I want to bring in over $5 million into vocational training because college is not for everybody, right? I want to see more programs such as carpeting, electricians, apprentice programs, where our kids can graduate high school and make 6 figures. I played college football at the University of South Florida. If there's any Bulls on here, go Bulls. But if it wasn't for that, if it wasn't for football, college might have not been for me. So vocational training, teaching people how to run their own business. I'm focused also in our environment because environment and growth can go hand in hand. And there's this huge misconception where our environment and growth of development can't go hand in hand when they can. I want to see more solar brought to our community. Right now, solar is hiring more people than the gas, coal, and oil companies combined. And they're paying careers, not jobs, careers, at $22 an hour without a college degree. Also, very focused in on our small businesses. As a small business owner myself, and the impacts we've had since COVID-19, we've been hit drastically. But I've also seen other small businesses struggle where we weren't prepared to turn in our paperwork for a PPP loan when that loan came out to be able to help our small businesses because when they thrive, our communities thrive. And that is what I'm running this race on. I am the hardest working candidate. I'm literally working sun up to sundown. So I'm so glad I got to see everybody on here today. And that is my platform. And I look forward to answering any questions that may need to be addressed tonight. Thank you.
Mark, thank you so much. I don't know if we have any questions. You definitely went through your platform pretty quickly, so I'll give the audience a chance to see if they would like to ask a question, and we'll pose it to you. We have probably a minute or two before our next speaker at least shows up in the waiting room. So do we have any questions for Mark? Mark, as I said to Keisha, you talked about education. Academy Prep's one of your schools up in that South St. Petersburg market, and I sat on the board there for almost 4 years. So it's a group that I know well. I know what it can do and what education can do for our youth. So the next year is going to be vitally important, both the healthcare, the platform you're talking about, and the educational platform, given the times we're in with the pandemic. So both good topics. Thank you so much for taking those on.
Yeah, thank you. We have a huge healthcare problem. And one of the biggest things we're seeing right now in District 70, parts of it, is that there's many food deserts. People don't have access to quality, healthy food. And I'm a fitness guy. I'm a fitness trainer. But even beyond that, we know how important it is to have nutrition in our bodies because that's going to pass on to our kids. And we have people, the closest Publix and Walmart in some parts of the district are 7 miles away. And these areas are populated by a lot of senior citizens. And they can't leave now with the pandemic. And when I seen this even approach even more, I'm a big volunteer for our Meals on Wheels, where I deliver meals multiple times a week to our senior citizens. I want to see healthier meals brought to our communities, more community gardens, more development, where people don't have to go to the Dollar General or to your corner store to get dinner, and they're grabbing Hot Pockets and bags of chips because they don't have access to healthier food options. And that is one of the most important things. And when we see these low-income communities, we get hit the most when a pandemic happens. We get hit the most when it comes to high blood pressure. We get hit the most when it comes to diabetes. Even though we are in the minority, it impacts us the most. And this is one of the reasons why, because we don't have access to these things. This race is about providing opportunities for the disenfranchised community.
Mark, just I don't know how much you know about the Alliance, but the Lakewood Ranch Business Alliance covers primarily a 2-county region, Sarasota, Manatee, although we have members that come above the Skyway Bridge and some that go down as south as Fort Myers. But any specific points that you'd like to talk about within the Bradenton, Sarasota region?
Yeah, so same thing, even in the Bradenton and Sarasota region, as we talked about earlier, our communities, no matter where you are, they thrive off of our small businesses. They thrive off when our businesses do well. And when we have our businesses locally doing strong, our communities do better. And so in that region, I'm very focused in on, as well as all of our regions, to support our small businesses, to make sure that we're fully funded. Support our nonprofits. Our nonprofits have been here supporting our community since before the pandemic. And they're the ones that are going to keep us afloat and help our communities thrive during these times. But we got to make sure that they can keep their doors open.
Well, thank you, Mark. I think that's our questions. There was one question about specific healthcare issues. Do you have any specific healthcare issues that you think you talked about diet and nutrition and food and getting that to the any others?
Yeah, so I talked about addressing our food deserts. Number one, we got to have healthier foods in our communities. And healthcare, as I said in my opening statement, is not a privilege. It's a human right for every single person. Regardless of how much money you make, regardless of who you are, you deserve access to a quality healthcare. And that is what I'll fight for, is make sure that every Floridian has access to healthcare, because I'm sure everybody watching this has had some type of healthcare scare before in their life, or they know somebody who has had one.
Well, thank you again. So, Mark, as I said to every candidate we've had this our third night. I wish you well in the race. You got a week, 8 days left, I guess, if you count them correctly. And I hope you can finish strong. It doesn't look like you'll have any trouble running the race from an energy level. You have it for sure. So I wish you well, and get some sleep along the way, because you need it. You need to get that sleep so you can have be refreshed the next day. So thank you for joining this evening, even from the polls there, and we truly appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you. And you're right. You know what? It's about energy. It's about hard work. I'll make this pretty quick. Funny story. Every poll worker out here says I'm the hardest working candidate. I've been out the polls sun up to sundown. 2 weeks or less than 2 weeks ago, I was bit by a dog while canvassing, and it went all over social media. And the day after that, I got in trouble on this Ring app. I was accused of stealing mail because I run 5 miles a day, putting flyers on our doors and running back. But we got it all situated. And honestly, I truly mean this when I say we're not going to be at work in this campaign. We are working everything we got. We've raised over $50,000. We have amazing endorsements, and we're going to win this race. And I would love to have your support. So please, for more information, go to markforflorida.com, or you can call me on my cell phone number personally, 727-831-2829. And please make a contribution, or just come out and vote, or tell your friends. So thank you so much, and I'm going to get back to the polls and get back to the work.
Thank you, Mark. Have a good evening.
Thank you. You too.
All right.
Bye.
So our next candidate, Michele Rayner. Michele should have joined us at this point. Michele, I don't know if you can hear me, but you came in as Dom DeMeo. So you don't want to be Dom DeMeo. You can hover over your picture and there'll be 3 dots in the right corner and you can click rename and rename yourself. But Michele is also running for Florida House District 70. So the speakers we had all tonight were all of the same group running for the Florida House District 70 on the Democratic side of the ticket. So Michele, thank you for joining us this evening. I want to give a special thank you for juggling your schedule. We had obviously a little bit of discord in the middle of our program with a couple of people not being able to make it. So especially appreciative for you to be able to juggle that schedule. Thank you. And the floor is yours.
No problem, no problem. And unfortunately, because I was juggling, I am via my phone because I've been out talking with voters. So I apologize. Normally, I'm a little bit more professional and I'm not in my car. But nonetheless, my name is Michele Rayner. I am a candidate for State House District 70. I am a civil rights attorney. I'm a small business owner. And can you guys still hear me?
Yeah.
Hello? Can you guys still hear
Yeah.
me?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So I'm a small business owner and I am running on a platform of equity. I'm running on a platform of ensuring that folks within District 70 and really all of the state of Florida can live a thriving, successful lives. We have issues that are happening within the state, but I believe that we feel those impacts deeply in District 70. And when we think about the affordable housing crisis, we think about our small businesses. They are the heart and soul and the backbone of our community and of our state, and they need real help now. Family members and working families making sure that they can survive and feed their families and make sure that their employees are okay. Also, we have an education crisis right now. The big issue because of COVID is brick and mortar or we're going to do e-learning, and we have a digital divide that's very real. So we have a lot of problems and a lot of issues within the state of Florida, but I don't think that they're without solutions, and I don't think that us not being able to come together and find common ground, I think that we're going to be able to do that. Our campaign has been endorsed by over 30 organizations and individuals, starting with the Tampa Bay Times representative, Congressman Christ. He actually made phone calls for me yesterday, so people were kind of, I think, weirded out in a good way that he was calling. Senator Dale Roussan, former state senator Arthenia Joyner, the Florida Sentinel, SCIU, AFL-CIO, Pinella's Realtors organization, and so many more. And I think that's a testament to the track record that I've had in our community, of being a part of it, working in our community, building my reputation as an attorney, but also the campaign that we're running. So I'm super excited. I'm here to take your questions and chat with you for a little bit.
Thank you, Michele. I'll give a minute to see if the audience has questions for you, but I'll ask one that was asked of a couple of the other candidates. So Lakewood Ranch covers the 2-county region a little bit more, although we have members that go as far as St. Petersburg. The majority are across the bridge here in Manatee and Sarasota. So do you have any specific items that you would address here in our region?
Yes. So when I think about even some of the affordable housing issues, I think that that's an issue that is within Manatee County and within Sarasota, especially within District 70, and making sure that folks are not housing insecure, but also they're able to reside in have home ownership in the community that they grew up in. Also, I think that economic development is super important as well within Manatee County and within Sarasota. And one of the things that I'm really excited to begin working on is identifying community partners, partnering with them and seeing how on a state level I can work and partner with community organizations, make sure that appropriations are given so that those can go to the organizations that are doing work, especially with economic development, because I think that we have a lot of people who are mom and pop businesses or wanting to start a business and they don't know what they need to do, or they need help, or they need assistance, especially in this time, to make sure they can sustain.
Michele, there was a question to one of the other candidates that talked about specific healthcare initiatives. So do you have any specific healthcare initiatives that you think you need to address?
Yeah, so I think that, I've said, since the outset of this campaign that COVID has put a floodlight on a lot of the issues that are running rampant, and specifically within District 70. I've said that when Florida gets a cold, District 70 gets the flu, right? And so I think that we have to have a real honest conversation about healthcare and what that looks like, and what access for all folks with regard to healthcare. And um, sorry, everyone, since I'm on my phone, everyone keeps calling. Sorry about that. But what that looks like. And so one of the things I think that we have to have a conversation about healthcare expansion and Medicaid for all. I think we have to have that conversation. And how does that look? I'm a small business owner, so I understand the impacts that may have on businesses. But right now we have working families who are trying to decide, if they can even afford to get sick. And then I think also, while we're having that really tough conversation, we need to make sure that the free clinics, such as those that are in Manatee County and such as those that are in St. Pete, are able to have appropriations so that they keep running and that they can service some of our most vulnerable and neediest families.
Well, thank you. I'm going to poll the audience and see, do we have any other questions for Michele while we have her here? We have her attention. I'd be glad to try to get your answers for you. Give it a minute, Michele. We'll see if we have anything. If not, we'll let you get back to what you were doing. And
I thank y'all for being accommodating as well, so no worries.
Yep, I don't see any other questions loading in. It looks like you answered the few that were asked of the other candidates as well. So one, I wish you well. As I've said to all the candidates, you got 8 days, which is a long time still. Seven days. Okay. Thanks for the correction. 7 days, and you got to run hard. So get some sleep. Make sure you get some rest and run hard every day. And we wish you well in the rest of the 7 days. And if we can ever do anything here, we're here in Lakewood Ranch to assist you as well. Thank you for joining us this evening.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate y'all. Thank you so much. Take care.
Yeah. And to my audience, I just wanted to thank you all. Some of you were here for more than one day, and some for almost all 3 days. We appreciate you actually attending. We'll be sending out a survey to all of the participants that were at all 3 of the events, just to get some feedback so we can do this in the future, see what the feeling was on the electronic connection and the delivery. So sorry, we're going to end a little short. Michele Grimsley would have been speaking tonight as well. Michele did contact me and is feeling ill and not able to attend. So we send her our regards on to Michele for her feeling better soon. Given that she's in the middle of this race as well, with only 7 days left, I wouldn't want to not be feeling well as you try to run a race like this. And it seems like we have 4 good candidates that are, or at least 3 of the 4 that we got to see, that are going to fight hard to see who can get that seat. So thank you for joining us this evening, and I wish you all well. Have a great night.